Let's go now to, how about we'll go to Toronto, Canada. We'll talk with Jessica first, and then we'll go to Ohio. Hey, Jessica.
Hello. We know about the wages of sin is death. That's in the Bible. It says the wages of sin is death,
Hmm.
but the gift of God. But my thing is, I don't understand this one in First John 5:16 and 17. It says like there is a sin that's not unto death, something like that. What am I missing? I'm not understanding
Okay,
that.
yeah. So there's two kinds of sin, and the one kind leaves you dead. What is the only sin that leaves a person dead? Well, that would be unbelief or rejection of the gospel. Jesus says this also. John records it elsewhere because Jesus says every sin will be forgiven man except the blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. Every sin will be forgiven except what? Except the rejection of the Spirit. So if he stands at the door and knocks and you say, no, thank you, I don't want Jesus, I don't want the Holy Spirit, I don't want the gospel, if you reject forgiveness, then you're not forgiven. If you reject salvation, then you're not saved. God is a gentleman. He says, I stand at the door and I knock, right? I'll knock at the door, but I'm not going to knock down the door. And so he will not force us into relationship. And so what John is saying in 1 John 5, verses 16 and 17, he says, if anyone sees his brother or sister committing a sin, well, he's saying there's two kinds of sin, the kind that leads to death and the kind that does not lead to death. Because you know what? For example, if you're sinning unto death, meaning if you're rejecting the gospel, if you're rejecting Jesus, I cannot pray you into the kingdom. I cannot force you to believe, and I cannot pray you to be a Christian. I can hope. I can pray to God that you would have opportunities. I can pray that I might be influential in your decision. I can pray all kinds of things about open doors for the gospel, but I cannot pray you into the family. I cannot pray you into salvation. And God cannot force, He will not force a person to be saved. Why not? Because that's just not love. That's not who God is. And that's why He says today, if you hear His voice, don't harden your heart. It's your decision. It's your response. Don't harden your heart. So that is the sin that leads to death, and you cannot pray people into salvation. And that's why John says in verse 17, there is a sin that leads to death. I am not saying that you should pray about that. So what is the only thing that John would tell you not to pray about? Well, you can't pray people into the kingdom. You can't pray people from death to life. Now, I realize there are heresies out there where people are trying to pray people into heaven. They're trying to pray dead people into heaven. They're trying to pray them out of purgatory. They're trying to pray for people that are long gone. And, John is basically saying that's nonsense. He's saying, I'm not saying that you should pray about that. But now, on the other hand, let's talk about a believer. Let's talk about somebody who has life. Then they are not in death. They are not in condemnation. They are new. They have newness of life. But they're struggling. I don't know what it is. Let's say they're struggling with lust, or they're struggling with critical thinking about other people, or they spread rumors a lot, or they compare themselves with other people, or they're struggling. Well, John is saying, yes, you can pray about that. You can pray for them. Why? Because they already have God working in them. And God's already agreed that He began a good work and He's going to complete it. He began a good work and He's going to keep working on them. So that prayer is in agreement with God. And so there's two kinds of sin mentioned in 1 John 5. The rejection of the gospel, and then an everyday struggle that Christians might have. Those are two different scenarios. So Jessica, I'll put you back on. Does that help make sense of the passage, my friend?
Yes, yes. The part that we choose, and
Yeah.
if we reject, yes, yes. Thank
Good.
you.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, then, so what does that mean, folks? It means we can pray for open doors for the gospel, just like Paul did. He prayed for open doors, but he certainly didn't name names and say, God, please force that person to believe. That's not going to happen. God is a gentleman, and he knocks at the door, but he won't knock down it.